Hi everybody, my name is George Lee Cunningham. I'm here today with author LaRue, who just released his new book, Major League Encounters. It tells the inside story of the Major League and what it's like in the clubhouse and what it's like on the field. And reading your book, I see that it's got a variety of people in it. Not all of them were nice guys. Some of them were nice, some of them were less than nice, and some of them were real stinkers. And can we talk about a couple of the stinkers? Let's talk about Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds was a guy who had a huge ego, and everybody made allowances for him.
Yes, he's one of the 99 players in the book. I've got 99 players and a golfer in this thing.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds was one of a kind, like most of them. He was a Hall of Fame player almost from the beginning, the son of a major league player. He was just a home run hitter, an all-around great athlete. And as his career went on, he became larger than life. His ego became larger than the ballparks he played in. And everyone around him would say, well, that's just Barry. You know, if he did something really rude. An example, I was in the clubhouse interviewing someone else when a PR person from the San Francisco Giants ushers in about a 14-year-old kid with a notebook. And he set up an interview with Barry Bonds for his school paper. Very excited. So he walks up to Barry and he says, Mr. Bonds, have you got a minute? And Barry says, yes, but not for you. And he walks away. And the kid bursts into tears. And, wow. You know, he's sitting in the clubhouse crying. And so the manager of the team, Dusty Baker, comes out and says, you know, come on in, son, you can talk to the manager of the team. And that sort of saved the day. But again, everybody around him just said, yeah, that's Barry.
That's Barry, but Barry got his comeuppance in the end, did he not?
Mr. Bonds had to go to trial on perjury charges, on charges that he had lied about steroids, and he retired as the leading home run hitter in Major League Baseball history. But everybody basically threw an asterisk on that because he took steroids. He never quite acknowledged it, but there was no doubt in anybody's mind. His head size changed, his body became much bigger, and in his late 30s he was hitting more home runs than he hit in his late 20s. So there were a lot of issues with Barry, and basically his role in baseball disappeared. He became persona non grata.
Well, there's other folks too, though, that obviously everybody in this game probably has a pretty good sized ego, if they're going to be in it. But and there was people that were not really stinkers, but they had a huge ego, like Reggie Jackson, for instance.
Reggie had an ego that was huge, and he also had something of a split personality. There were about 3 or 4 Reggies. There was the nice Reggie, there was Reggie the noble, and Reggie the butthead. You know, and sometimes, I'll give you an example. Reggie, when he came to the Angels, had played for the New York Yankees for about 10 years and, you know, gone to the World Series with them, become really a huge player in the minds of everybody who followed Major League Baseball. But when he signed with the Angels, he had a terrible month of April. He didn't hit any home runs. He was hitting about 150, and we go to New York. And in New York, they had, every paper there, every tabloid had a Reggie meter on just how badly he was playing. And he did interviews the first day in, and he knew everyone in the media. If you were from the New York Times and you asked him the dumbest question imaginable, he would say, good question, and answer it. And if you were from a paper in New Jersey, he knew who you were, and if you asked the same question, he'd say, what are you, stupid? And he wouldn't answer. So, you know, I'd never seen anybody quite handle the media like that. He knew everybody that came to talk to him one-on-one, and he would react to them based on who they worked for, what their circulation was.
And you got to have Alex Rodriguez, who was probably one of the highest, if not the highest paid player in baseball history. And he was very concerned about his public image. He was.
It's kind of a shame because his public image early on was Wonder Boy. He was, you know, a shortstop. He was a huge hitter. 300. He won the MVP award. He went to Texas Rangers. He wasn't. The more you got to know Alex, the less you liked him. And it wasn't because he was a bad guy. It was because he was so superficial. You know, he wanted to control everything written, said, filmed about himself. If you asked him a question, the first thing he'd say to you is, why do you ask that? Because he wanted to know where you were going with your interview. A lot of times you were just asking questions to get an interview started. He was very controlling about his image, and he would try to promote certain thoughts. He came to me one day in Cleveland and told me that his grandmother had died. And he said, you know, it's really hard for me to play. You know, I really loved that woman. She was, you know, a big part of my
Sure.
life growing up. And I said, you know, gee, you know, are you going to go to her funeral? And he says, well, no. And he kept playing in Cleveland. But, you know, you got the feeling that he wanted you to sympathize with him for the loss of his grandmother, but he didn't take it quite as seriously as he tried to make you think he did.
Yeah. Listen, this is a fascinating book. It's a good read. It's a fast read. And whether you like sports or not, you're going to enjoy this book, I guarantee it. And thank you, Larry, for being with us here today.
Thank you.
Okay.